I welcome you all to the module 7 of the course titled Applied Positive Psychology. So, the module 7 is about meaning and purpose in life, and today's lecture is lecture number 19, where we will be talking about meaning oriented interventions. So, this is the second lecture of this module, and overall it is lecture number 19. So, before we talk about today's lecture, just let me give you a brief recap of the last lecture. So, last lecture was also part of the same module. In that lecture, we discussed the basic concepts around the idea of meaning in life. So, we discussed what is meaning in life, we try to define it. We also try to understand the dimensions of meaning in life. We discussed 3 core dimensions of meaning in life, and we also try to understand how meaning in life and well-being are connected to each other, how meaning in life influences different aspects of well-being. So, these are some of the aspects that we discussed in the last lecture, and today's lecture we will proceed from that, and we will try to have discuss more about how we can use this idea of meaning in life, mostly in terms of interventions and applications. So, today's lecture will focus on focus on these concepts. One is that we will talk about what makes life meaningful. So, various components which enhances meaning in our life. Then we will talk about how we can discover meaning in our life from the perspective of logotherapy. Some of the ideas that are given from the logotherapy, we will try to understand and use those ideas in terms of discovering meaning in life. So, this will be the focus of today's lecture. So, let us start today's lecture. Now, when we talk about meaning in life, we have already discussed the different dimensions of meaning in life. One was coherence, second was mattering or significance, third was purpose. We also try to understand what is the meaning of all these 3 dimensions and the different aspects associated with it in the last lecture. So, today we will see in more elaborate way the different variables which are linked to meaning in life. So, if these variables are present in your life, most probably you will have more meaning in your life. So, we will look into various variables which research have found that they are very strongly, they can influence meaning in our life. So, in that context we will be talking about 6 such variables. One is positive affect, social connections, religion and worldviews, the self, mortality awareness, and at last mental time travel. So, these are the 6 concepts that we will try to understand, or variables, and how they are linked to meaning in life and how they can actually facilitate meaning in our life. So, let us talk about each of them separately. So, the first one is positive affect, which in a broader sense we can say positive emotions. Now, the relationship between positive emotions or affect and meaning in life is well established in terms of empirical research, with early assessments linking meaning strongly to feelings of enjoyment and pleasures. A lot of research actually showed that higher positive emotions actually contributes to higher meaning in one's life. Now, positive affect or emotions like happiness, cheerfulness and fun emerges as a robust, though debated, antecedent of meaning in life. A lot of research actually shows these are very robust predictors of meaning in life. The presence of happiness, cheerfulness and fun in one's life actually enhances meaning in life. Studies show that happiness ranks highly among sources of meaning, second only to family members and so on. Some research shows the concept of happiness is highly related to meaning in life. It is one of the highest ranked variable which contributes to meaning in one's life. Now, let us look into some of the specific empirical evidences which are present. One is in terms of correlation with positive affect. Positive affect consistently predicts meaning in life across studies. Lot of studies shows, some of the citations are given here. Lot of these studies shows this positive emotions or affect actually consistently predicts meaning in one's life across various studies. It is not just 1 or 2 studies, various studies have shown that. So, there is a very strong correlation between positive affect and meaning in life. So, apart from correlational studies, experimental studies also showed that positive mood inductions such as listening to happy music or recalling positive memories enhance perceived meaning in one life. So, even through experimental studies, when positive emotions were manipulated or induced artificially, such as by listening to good music or recalling positive memories and so on, such temporary inductions of positive emotion also actually enhance perceived meaning in one's life. Apart from correlational studies, experimental studies, daily experiences also, in terms of diary studies, also showed that daily positive mood was a stronger predictor of retrospective meaning in life than daily ratings of meaning itself. Even in diary studies also shows the report of positive mood in day to day life actually was a very strong predictor of meaning in life when looked at retrospectively. So, all kinds of studies, cross sectional, experimental as well as diary studies actually showed that positive emotions has a very strong connection with meaning in life. Some studies also showed some moderation effects of positive effects. So, positive mood uniquely predicted meaning even after accounting for variables like religiosity, self-esteem, social belongingness and so on. These variables, however, moderate the relationship with the individuals low on these dimensions, finding meaning primarily through positive mood. So, these variables like religiosity, self-esteem, social belongingness, all these variables actually predict or very significantly contribute to positive or meaning in one's life. But even if you control all these variables, positive mood actually uniquely predicts meaning even after taking account of all these variables. And research also shows individuals who are low on these variables, they find meaning primarily through positive emotions. So, even if these variables are not present in one's life, people are more likely to find meaning through positive emotions. So, even if you control all these variables, positive emotion still predicts meaning in life, even if all these variables are not present in one's life or they are present in lesser aspects of these variables. Now, what is the broader implication of this variable? When we talk about positive emotions, this is typically a part of hedonic well-being. Meaning in life, on the other hand, is an aspect of eudynamic well-being. Now, these are two different aspects of well-being, but research shows they each can contribute to other. So, this is something very interesting. In terms of philosophical debates, hedonic well-being and eudynamic well-beings have always been separately discussed, and people who support one school of thought generally are not in favor of other school of thought. But this research on positive emotions and meaning in life clearly shows that one aspect of well-being can influence the other aspects of well-being, particularly in the context of hedonic well-being and eudynamic well-being. So, the positive effects role in meaning challenges the traditional dichotomy between hedonic and eudynamic well-being, although conceptually they are very different aspects of well-being, but they can have strong influence on each other. While positive effect is central to hedonic well-being, its substantial contribution to the meaning in life, which is an important aspect of eudynamic well-being, suggests that these domains are more interconnected than previously thought. So, these domains actually are very strongly connected to each other, as compared to what previously thought in research literature. The historical perspectives such as those of William James and Yalom also emphasize the profound role of positive emotions in fostering meaning, reinforcing the importance as a central aspect of the meaning in life. So, which basically means that even in historically also some great philosophers such as William James and Yalom also actually emphasize this aspect of role of positive emotions in fostering meaning in one's life. So, this very clearly shows the different facets of well-being or different dimensions of well-being actually may be interconnected to each other. So, this is one aspect of source of meaning. So, the more we experience positive emotions in our life, more likely we will see meaning in life, or more likely we are more likely to find meaning in life in the different things that we do. So, the positive emotions may contribute to or facilitate meaning in one's life. So, this is one thing. If you want to increase meaning in one's life, one pathway is through enhancing positive emotions. The next variable which can contribute to meaning in one's life is social connections. Let us see how social connection is connected to meaning in one's life. So, the influence of social relationship on the meaning of life is undeniable, because a lot of things that we do, our life becomes meaningful. We find meaning in doing things. One of the reason is that that the connections we have with other people also plays very important role in terms of giving meaning to our life. Our life many times is meaningful because of the loved one around us. So, this social connection plays very important role. So, as inherently we are social animals or social beings, humans are motivated to form secure bonds. So, this social instinct propels us to connect with other people and derive psychological well-being when this need is met, when we able to connect with other people meaningfully. That actually fulfills one of our basic needs to connect with people. Conversely, social isolation often leads to negative outcomes such as depression and so on. So, these are like already there are established substantial research evidences that shows the role of social connections and support system on well-being, and lack of it leads to lack of well-being in terms of like depression and so on. Now, how social relationship contributes to meaning in one's life? So, if you look at the facets of meaning, social relationship actually contributes to all the three dimensions of meaning in life. All these dimensions we have already discussed elaborately in the last lecture, in terms of finding coherence in one's life, organizing experiences, finding purpose in one's life, and it gives significance to our life. We become valuable person. One of the reason is that the people around us or loved one around us makes us feel we are valuable in the life. So, all the three dimensions of coherence, significance and purpose in life can be influenced positively by social connections or relationship with other people. Meaning often also arises from interdependence and generativity, such as parenting, caregiving, contributing positively to others. These roles clarify purpose and create a sense of impact. So, all the behaviors which are connected to the sense of connected to the social relationship, such as parenting, caregiving, contributing positively to others, all these things actually contributes to gives us a sense of more meaning in our life. Close relationship also help us restore meaning during difficult times by enabling individuals to share stories, reappraise situations positively and develop broader self-understanding. When we face difficulties in our life, traumatic situations in our life, adversities in our life, this close relationship actually help us to restore meaning during difficult times, because we are able to share our stories with other people. We are able to look at situation differently because other people are contributing to see how we can look at the same situation in a different way and so on. So, it helps us to develop broader understanding, self-understanding, understanding of the situations and so on. So, it restores meaning, especially when in the difficult challenging situations of our life where meaning becomes disrupted. Our close people around us actually help us to restore that meaning system. So, this is something very important, one of the mechanism by which this can contribute to meaning in our life. Now, let us look at some empirical findings. Social belonging, the sense of social belonging, how it contributes to meaning. Research shows that positive social interactions, including feeling of belonging and social support, consistently predict meaning in life even after accounting for other factors. Now, this research actually shows that social connection contributes to meaning in life, this even after controlling many other variables which could contribute to meaning in life. So, this is it can uniquely predict. Perceived impact also, research shows that perception of social relationship, relatedness and beneficence uniquely predict meaning in life. Even perception also accounts to meaning in or contributes to meaning in life, highlighting the importance of feeling connected and making a positive impact on others. So, there can be a perceived impact also. Research also shows that interventions that enhance feeling of belongingness increase the belief that life is meaningful. Even in certain intervention studies where people were made to realize that they belong, their sense of belongingness when it was increased or manipulated in studies, it shows that it actually contributes to higher meaning in their life and so on. Even in lay perspective, people commonly report that social relationships are a primary source of meaning in their lives. Even if you ask anyone, people will say that they perceive that their life is meaningful. One of the reason is that because of the people around them, the loved ones around them, the social support they receive. Other people make them realize that they are valuable and so on. All this actually has contributes to meaning in one's life. So, this is another source of meaning in life, the social connection. So, if we have more meaningful social relationships, if we have more healthy support system, this could also be one of the important source of or major source of meaning in our life. So, this is another pathway through which we can enhance meaning in our life, building meaningful relationship with other people. So, this is the second important variables. The third one is the religious worldviews and non-religious worldviews. What kind of belief system we have in our life? It could be religious beliefs, it could be non-religious belief. They also all contributes to meaning in our life. They help us to make sense of the world around us. What happens to us? What is the meaning of this life? What should we do? What is the right things to do in our life? What happens after death and so on? All these things are actually interpreted through various worldviews. Some of these worldviews are religious worldviews, some of the worldviews could be secular or non-religious worldviews. Let us look into this aspect, how these worldviews actually contributes to meaning in our life. So, worldviews are basically overarching belief system, the different kinds of belief system that we all have about the different aspects of our life, about ourselves, about others, about the world, about the after death and so on. All these belief system help individuals interpret experiences, set goals, define their place in the universe. We all the time try to make sense of our existence. So, these worldviews, different worldviews that we get through socialization, through religious teaching, through reading books and so on, all this help us to make sense of our existence. So, these are called worldviews, overarching belief system that that help us to interpret the world around us, interpret our experiences and so on. So, these structures often provide a sense of coherence and purpose. These worldviews actually gives us a sense of coherence. It helps us to make sense of the events in our life. It gives us an answer why certain event happens in our life. It also gives us a sense of purpose in our life. Lot of these ideas and religious belief system guides us what kind of action should we do, what kind of goal should we have, that gives a sense of direction and purpose. So, both religious and non-religious worldviews provide a framework for understanding life's purpose, morality and ultimate meaning in one's life. So, let us look into both the aspects of religious worldviews and non-religious worldviews and how they contribute to meaning in our life. So, let us look at the religious worldviews. So, religious faith is a very important source of meaning in people's life, especially who subscribe to certain religions and follow them properly and rigorously and so on. So, religion offers answers to most of the fundamental questions of our existence. It connects individual to larger context and gives finite existence infinite meanings. Religions provides answers to a lot of fundamental questions of life, why we exist, what is birth, what is death and what happens after death, what is the purpose of this life. Religions provides a lot of answer and people follow them, and when they believe in them, it gives a sense of meaning in their life. They get answers to questions and they follow certain pathways and so on, which provides a structure to their life and mind and so on. So, it ultimately we can say this gives adds meanings to their life. Now, religious worldviews, it enhances all facets of meaning. Whatever the dimension that we talked about, it provides comprehension or it helps us to make sense of the world. It can help us to make sense of suffering and mortality, why people suffer, why people sometimes get good things, why people die and what happens after death. All these religious worldviews help us to make sense of the world. It helps us to comprehend the world. It also gives us a sense of purpose. It helps us to establish a clear life direction and identity. All the religions gives us a view of what is an ideal life, what is a good life, and what pathways and practices should we follow to reach that good life or certain end goals. So, religions provides us a lot of goals in our life and pathways through to reach that goal. So, that gives us a sense of purpose in life, direction in life. The third dimension is coherence, which also coherence or even significance in one's life and so on. So, it makes our life more significant when we feel that we are following something and we are going to certain directions. So, it gives us a sense of significance of our life, values to our own life, that we feel that our life is worthy, I am able to do something with my life and so on. So, all these dimensions of meaning in life are enhanced through religious worldviews and so on. So, some of the evidence, if you look at in the empirical literature, religiosity has many positive impact on the meaning of life. So, religiosity correlates positively with meaning in life across different age groups, cultural contexts, even where religion is less normative. So, research across different cultures and different age groups shows that religious worldviews actually contribute significantly to the meaning in life of the people. So, meaning in life mediates the link between religiosity and other aspects of well-being. How religiosity or religious beliefs, many times a lot of research shows that contributes to well-being in one's life. So, one of the mechanism by which religiosity may contribute to well-being, it could be through the moderating effect of meaning in life. So, religiosity enhances meaning in life and then meaning in life ultimately leads to higher well-being and so on. So, the many religions teach that life's meaning comes from a higher power, divine purpose, sacred duty. For example, a Christian may find deep meaning in life through faith in God, the teachings of Jesus Christ, serving humanity and so on. So, if somebody is a believer in Christianity, that person will find meaning through all these worldviews that are provided by Christianity as the religion. Following, believing in God, teachings of Jesus Christ and so on. So, they will have already certain pathways defined for them and they can follow and find meaning through them. So, this is how it can contribute to meaning in one's life. Now, not only religious worldviews, even non-religious worldviews could also contribute to meaning in one's life. So, there are many worldviews which may not have any connection with religion or divine power or God and so on. There are many worldviews which are very secular in their nature. So, such non-religious worldviews also can help people create meaning in life by offering frameworks. When you believe certain worldviews which may not be related to religion, but they help you to structure your ideas. It may gives you certain framework, certain philosophies and certain practices that support purpose, values and personal fulfillment without relying on belief in God, deity or organized religion. So, all these worldviews often emphasize, when you talk about non-religious worldviews, they are mostly related to the human experience, reasons, ethics, societal progress and so on. So, all these non-religious ideas also contributes to meaning in life because they give you structure, help you to understand, make sense of the events and so on. For example, the ideas related to humanism is a very non-religious worldview. It has nothing to do with religions. The simple idea of philosophy of humanism, it centers on human values, reasons and potentials for human growth. Humanism as an idea, it focuses on human values, nurturing human values, focusing on reasons, rational aspects and how to grow, how to focus on the growth of humanity. So, it promotes purpose through relationship, caring for others, building communities, working towards a better world. So, these are worldviews which can provided by certain frameworks which are non-religious. Second is ethical living, doing good for its own sake, not for divine reward or punishment. One should lead ethical living not because of fear of punishment from the God and so on, simply because it is good way of living, one has to follow that. not because of fear of punishment or reward. Personal development, meaning through learning, creativity, self improvement. So, these are examples and some of the core ideas of humanism as an worldviews. A lot of people believe in these worldviews and they structure their life around these ideas. So, for example, a humanist might find meaning by volunteering, advocating for social justice or mentoring others. Somebody who believes in such humanistic ideas, they may volunteer for a lot of or helping people or advocating justice to people who are facing injustice. They may mentor others, support others and so on, because these ideas are related to the core ideas of humanism. A lot of people actually believe in them. They have nothing to do with the religious ideas and so on. So, this is an example of how non-religious worldviews can contribute to meaning. So, this is the third variable which could contribute to meaning in one's life. So, that is through worldviews. We all try to make sense of this existence, and sometimes we use a lot of these religious and non-religious worldviews, and use of such worldviews actually contributes to meaning of our life. The fourth variable which can facilitate meaning in one's life is the concept of the self, the connection with the concept of self. Now, self understanding can provide purpose in one's life. So, a strong connection to oneself. So, the more you understand about yourself, your authentic self, who are you really as a person, it can provide a sense of purpose and direction in one life, because you know who are you at the core of your being, what are your values, what are your strengths and weaknesses. So, more of self understanding actually can provide a sense of purpose and direction in one's life and ultimately contribute to meaning in one's life. So, autobiographical memories related to one's life and the different episodes of one's life play a critical role in helping individuals find meaning. Whatever autobiographical memory we have about ourselves, how do you see yourself, how do you explain yourself, all these memories actually play a very important role in finding meaning in one's life, as they integrate life events into a broader self narrative, supporting coherence and purpose. So, all these ideas about your one's self, how do you define who are you or who am I, all these ideas about yourself actually help us to integrate all the life events around a central concept of the self and gives meaning and purpose in one's life. The research shows that integrating negative life experiences into a coherent story can increase meaning in one's life, as evidenced by an interventions where depressed participants who restructured their life stories reported higher level of meaning. So, research even shows that if you even integrate negative life experiences into a coherent story, that means you try to give sense or find meaning out of even negative events in one life or life experiences, that can actually increase meaning in one's life. So, even studies with the intervention with the depressed participant also shows that when they were asked to integrate such negative life experiences into more coherent story, that enhanced their meaning in life. So, this whole self understanding, self integration, getting in touch with the self, everything can actually contribute to meaning in one's life. Now, in the context of self, when we are in touch with the true self, can actually contribute to meaning in life also. So, understanding and being in touch with one's true self is associated with higher meaning in life, even more so than self esteem. So, if you are more in touch with your authentic self, true self, who are you as a person authentically, your real self. So, the more you are connected with that, it can contribute to higher meaning in life, then you will find yourself in totality what you are, what you want, what is your goal and directions in life and so on. You will be in more touch with your authentic self, which can direct all these things. So, the experimental studies reveal that reminders of one's true self enhance meaning in life. So, the more you remember your who are you really as a person, not just integrating what you see around you and then you create a false self, the more you connect with your true self, more you are likely to have meaning in your life. So, alienation from the true self, such as in the college student who struggle to see the purpose of their studies, often leads to feeling of meaninglessness. So, the more a person becomes alienated from the true self, then their life becomes less meaningful. So, some study shows, especially the college student who struggle to see purpose in what they are studying. If they do not see any purpose in what they are studying, or whatever they are studying is not in alignment with their true self, then they may find that may lead to feeling of meaninglessness in whatever they are doing, because it is not in connection with their authentic self. Whatever they could not find meaning in what they are doing. So, when we are in touch with our true selves, including even flawed parts or weaknesses, we do not chase a fake version of life. We live meaningfully, rooted in honesty, humility and purpose. So, this is how it can give direction, purpose and meaning in one's life. So, the next one is mental time travel. So, this is how we can create meaning in life by becoming more authentic and getting in touch with our true self. It can make our life more meaningful. So, this is another way to enhance meaning in one's life. So, the next one is mental time travel. Let us see how mental time travel can contribute to meaning in one's life. So, when we talk about mental time travel, we are talking about projecting ourselves into the past or future. How do you project yourself in the past and in the future? So, that is mentally you travel to the past or to the future. So, it is very constructed kind of self that is projected, or some alternative realities, helping individuals experience a sense of continuity and coherence across time. So, this mental time travel gives us a sense of continuity. I am a self who is going through different events in life with the passage of time. So, there is a sense of continuity because we could mentally travel time. We can see what I was in the past and who am I now, and what am I going to become. So, there is a sense of continuity this mental time travel gives to the sense of self. This process is linked to increased meaning in life by fostering connection between the present self and the distant self. So, it gives sense of meaning because you find a sense of continuity, you see whatever we have done may be right, wrong, whatever. So, you learn from that and you move ahead. So, all these things gives you sense of meaning, because there was somebody in the past, you are somebody in the past, now you are this person, what you want to become and so on. So, this whole idea of mental time travel actually enhances meaning in life in terms of by fostering connection between these different selves who are in the present, past and future. Now, in terms of mental time travel, one aspect which can contribute to meaning in life is called nostalgia. So, nostalgia is an important aspect which can enhance meaning in one's life, which may enhance, not necessarily. So, nostalgia is about when we think about something in our past, especially the positive things that has happened and so on. So, it is a sentimental longing for the past and is inherently connected to different aspect of the self, making it meaningful and so on. So, nostalgic feeling means when you sentimentally long for some past thing that has happened. So, there is a positive experience or some emotional experiences that has happened. So, you go back to that again and again. So, that sense of nostalgia happens, or when we meet some old friends, suddenly then all the memories of the past or good times we had or with that person, all these memories comes back. So, that is called nostalgia, sentimental longing for the past. These nostalgic memories help individuals enhance life's coherence, purpose and sense of significance, especially when nostalgia is actively evoked. When nostalgia becomes very actively evoked, it can contribute to all the dimensions of meaning in life, including coherence, purpose and sense of significance and everything. Because a lot of these past positive memories, emotional memories gives us a sense of coherent self. We derive meaning from those experiences. Studies show that frequent nostalgia or specific nostalgic triggers like scents or songs are associated with higher level of meaning. Sometimes certain fragrances, certain music can trigger some old memories which are associated with certain events in the past. All this trigger also sometimes can contribute to higher meaning in life and sense of continuity. Nostalgia has been found to help people maintain meaning during times of crisis, enhance global meaning in life and increase motivation. Even during the crisis, some nostalgic experiences could help us to deal with those difficult situations by learning something from the past experiences and so on. So, people can maintain meaning in their life through all these nostalgic experiences. So, whatever good has happened, all the emotional things, they find meaning in the present existence because of a lot of these events that has happened. So, that is how it can contribute to meaning in one's life. So, nostalgia basically it affirms our identity. So, that is how it contributes to meaning. One way is it affirms our identity by remembering who we were and help us understand who we are today. So, it builds a connection with the past self and the present self. So, it gives a sense of identity. Nostalgia provides a sense of continuity. Again, it connects with our present self with the past. It creates a sense of identity, sense of continuity in life stories. So, it gives a sense of meaning. So, there is a coherent story coming from past to the present. Now, one important caveat that we need to understand is that not all nostalgia is beneficial. Naturally occurring feelings of nostalgia, especially when linked to negative emotions, can lower well-being and meaning in life. Some nostalgic experiences which are related to very negative experiences in the past may not have positive impact. So, one has to understand this. Mostly we are talking in terms of positive nostalgic experiences can contribute to meaning in one's life. So, in terms of mental timetable, one is we go to the past, which we can say nostalgic experiences. Another aspect to the mental timetable is that we go to the future. So, that is called prospections or future oriented goals. This prospections is about imagining the future. It is very crucial and helps link important goals with the passage of time. We imagine our futures, we set goals about our futures, because it is not still present, it is likely to happen in some future. So, we can imagine only about that. So, this imagining about future is very crucial in terms of because it links to important goals and passages of time and so on. It gives us a direction where to go and all these things. This contributes to purpose in life. So, thinking about the future, especially through valued goals, contribute to meaning by facilitating a sense of life's coherence. So, that is something very important. It mostly we set goals for our future, which gives a direction in our life. Studies show that people rate future oriented thoughts as more meaningful than present focused thoughts. So, future oriented thoughts actually gives us a sense of direction in our life. So, that is a sense of meaning in our life, what I want to do next. So, that the future projects and other things are very important factors in terms of it gives us energy, motivation, direction in our life. All this contributes to meaning in our life. So, imagining future milestones, what we need to do, like turning a new decade, often promotes reflections on the entire life story, fostering a sense of coherence and meaning. Research also shows the vividness and detail of mental images, whether from the past or future, enhance meaning in life. Detailed mental simulations lead to stronger connection between past and future. So, the more detailed you can think about past and future in terms of mental timetable, the more it is strongly connected to meaning in life and so on. Now, these prospections or thinking or imagining about the future help us to create meaning in our life by guiding purposes. Imagining future goals gives us direction. It motivates action. Future dreams and aspiration energizes us to take meaningful steps today. It creates hope that we will be doing something in future. Anticipating better days can help us endure present hardship. Even though your present situation may not be good, you anticipate something good is going to happen. It gives you energy and hope for the future. So, that also gives you meaning in life in whatever you are doing in the present context. And the last one is that it shapes values in terms of we prioritize what matters most by imagining long term impact and legacy. So, it helps us to prioritize what is more important in our life and it guides our action accordingly. So, these are some of the possible mechanisms by which prospection can actually contributes to meaning in our life. So, in terms of to summarize about mental timetable and how it contributes to meaning in life. So, mental timetable either through nostalgia or prospections or future oriented thinking, it helps individuals form a coherent connection across different points in time. So, it gives you sense of continuity that I am moving somewhere, I am coming from somewhere, which enhances meaning in our life. So, this quality of these mental images, especially their vividness and details, play a very important role in fostering or facilitating sense of self continuity and meaning. So, this is another way by which we can increase meaning in our life through either going to the past experiences or imagining some future goals and so on. So, this is another pathways which can enhance meaning in our life. The last one is about mortality awareness, that our awareness of death. This is a very unique thing about human beings, that human beings, we are living a life, at the same time we also know that one day we are going to die. This is a very unique situation of human being. Because of our cognitive ability, we also realize that this life is not eternal, we are going to die at some point of time. Now, this aspect of mortality awareness, awareness about the death that is going to come in the future, actually in a very paradoxical way can give meaning to your life. So, let us look at it how it can contribute. So, mortality awareness or the knowledge that life is for a finite amount of time, it is not going to last forever, actually can make individuals question the meaning of their existence. Many people ask these deeper questions because of this realization of death, that they feel what is the point of all these things if you are ultimately going to die one day. As Tolstoy famously said, or he pondered, does life have meaning when it is inevitably overshadowed by the death? Can we find meaning in life when the life is at the end going towards death? This existential concern is central to many philosophical and psychological perspective on meaning. Now, there is a paradoxical way this whole sense of death actually contributes to meaning. Research shows that acknowledging death can actually lead to more authentic and meaningful life. When you know your life is finite, for many people actually it makes their life more meaningful, because then the time is very limited, you cannot waste it. This sense of mortality awareness can actually give more meaning to life in terms of looking at it in a finite way, because then you do not have eternity to do everything. So, you have finite time, people prioritize things which are more important. This paradox suggests that while awareness of death may initially seem to decrease one's meaning in life, because you think ultimately you are going to die, then what is the point of anything, but actually it serves as a motivation for individuals to live more fully and purposefully. When you see life is limited, actually for most of the people it contributes to more meaningful life. When things are limited, you have to use them properly, you have to use the time properly, you have to prioritize things which are more important and so on. So, in that way it contributes to meaning in one's life. One model which is called as a dual existential system model, which was proposed by Casolino in 2006, it proposes that explicit thought about death, when people think about their death, it can trigger growth oriented processes such as increased spirituality, greater focus on intrinsic goal. When people think about death, actually it shifts their perspectives of life, and it propels them towards religion, spirituality, more intrinsic goals which are more authentic to them and so on. All these things actually can contribute to further meaning in one's life. This model also says people who experience near death experiences such as accidents and so on often report a greater sense of fulfillment in their pursuits, less concerned about others' opinions, and deeper sense of spirituality and meaning. When people come from death, like surviving accidents, surviving chronic diseases and so on, actually enhances for such people the meaning of life become much more important, or their meaning in life actually increases after such near death experiences, because they have seen death very closely and come back, and now all the priorities of life changes. Now, life no longer can be taken for granted. They realized it very strongly. So, that actually enhances meaning in their life. So, awareness of mortality does not necessarily diminish meaning in life. Apparently, it look like that if you become aware of your death, it may reduce your meaning in life, but in reality this is not, may not be true for most of the people. It can actually enhance life's value, because then life is limited, making it more precious and meaningful. The finite nature of life can motivate individuals to focus on what truly matters, fostering a deeper sense of purpose. So, this is how for most of the people actually it enhances meaning in life. So, these are like 6 pathways or variables through which meaning can be enhanced in our life. So, we have discussed each of them, and all these things we can enhance in our life, which ultimately can enhance meaning in our life. Now, let us look into this whole concept of enhancing meaning in one's life through some other lens. So, these are the different specific variables that we talked about. Now, let us look at through the lens of logotherapy proposed by Viktor Frankl, how can we look at meaning in life and how can we enhance that. So, as we have seen from the discussion from the last lecture and today's lecture, that the meaning in life can be summarized using these 3 dimensions. One, that meaning in life arises from comprehending one's existence. The more you are able to make sense of your existence, more meaningful you will experience your life. Identifying and achieving valued goals. So, the more you are able to have identify and achieve goals, it gives you a sense of purpose in one's life, which is a part of meaning in life, and feeling significant and fulfilled by life. So, when you feel your life is significant, you are doing something meaningful, valuable, worthwhile activities and so on, that also enhances meaning in one's life. So, meaning in life comes from all these 3 dimensions and or combination of these 3 dimensions. Now, beyond all this, we have talked about some specific variables in today's lecture. Now, there are several other ideas also which can enhance our understanding of how to enhance meaning in our life. So, let us look into some of the ideas of Viktor Frankl, because he is one of the most significant person in the whole research of meaning in life, either from psychology or philosophy. So, let us look into some of the ideas of Viktor Frankl. Now, he discovery of meaning, and Viktor Frankl proposed something called as a logotherapy. So, Viktor Frankl was an Austrian neurologist and psychiatrist. He was a Holocaust survivor and founder of logotherapy. So, he was victim of Nazi concentration camp, and he survived that whole concentration camp of Holocaust. So, he went through all the horrible experiences of concentration camps and he survived that. And after that he developed this whole logotherapy, therapy for meaning in life. So, this logotherapy talks about some of the basic principles. One is that life has meaning under all circumstances, even the miserable ones. He says we can find meaning in life in any circumstances, even the worst circumstances, because he has seen the worst of human experiences, the concentration camps. We cannot think of anything worse than that. And he could see that people could find meaning even in those circumstances. Second is our main motivation for living is will to find meaning in life. So, he said one of the most important fundamental motivation of human being is will to find meaning. So, people want to find meaning in their life. Without meaning, we cannot really get the whole sense of well-being of life will never come. So, that sense of meaning is the fundamental motivation of human being. Third is humanity has the freedom of attitudinal choice even in the situations of unchangeable afflictions. The third important factor is, which is very important in terms of application, is that we have a freedom to choose our attitude. Whatever happens externally, we still have one freedom. All the other freedom could be taken away from you externally. You may be put into prison, so there is no freedom outside. But still one freedom that is still remains with human being is what kind of attitude we want to take about any circumstances. That freedom no one can take. So, that is the key to find meaning in one's life. So, we'll little bit look into that elaborately. So, Frankl said we can discover meaning in life in 3 different ways. There could be 3 different ways we can find meaning in our life. One is by creating a work or doing a deed such as painting a picture, or making music or any other achievement of task. So, meaning in life comes from working, whatever work we do, whatever actions that we do. It could be painting a picture, making music or any other task, achievement task. So, all the work related things gives us meaning in our life. For Frankl, when he was in the Holocaust situations or concentration camp, his passion for writing book on psychotherapy and helping people gave meaning and will to survive. He could survive because he had this whole passion of writing a book and creating a psychotherapy to help people. So, that actually helped him to survive in all these difficult situations in his life. Second is by experiencing something such as natural beauty or encountering someone such as loved ones. It may include connections with spouse, family, friends, God or sacred. Second source of meaning that comes to our life is through meeting people, encountering loved ones or connecting with people, higher power, God, divine, etc. So, it is about when we experience something beautiful, it could be a natural beauty, it could be or encountering people around us. So, from the connections that we talked about in the earlier variable, that social connections or it may be connection with the God and divine power also. All these things gives us meaning in our life. For Frankl, when he was in the concentration camp, memories of his wife and connection to God help him to survive and find meaning in the concentration camp. He could survive all these ordeals of life because he was hoping to meet his wife. So, his connection with the wife mentally and connection to God helped him to survive because that gave him meaning in that meaning or will to survive. The third is we can find meaning by taking attitudes. What kind of attitude we take? We take towards unavoidable suffering. When we suffer in our life, what kind of attitude we take towards that can decide what the kind of meaning we have. So, we have the potential to make meaningful choices and attitudes even at the face of unbearable, unavoidable suffering and adversity. When life is very difficult, unbearable sufferings and so on, even at those situations also, what kind of attitude we take towards that is the key to find meaning. So, in the concentration camp, Frankl observed that some people would give up and die soon. Many people died and committed suicide in the concentration camp because it was horrible situation. Whereas, he found other people, they tolerated or their suffering with courage and grace as they had some meaning to their life. So, he found some people could survive because they had some meaning in their life, they had some plan in the future, whatever, or they had some reasons to live. Those people did not die. In that direction, Frankl said, everything can be taken from a man, but one thing, the last of human freedom to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. This is human's last freedom. No one can take that away. Everything else can be taken away in terms of external world, but what kind of attitude, what kind of perception you take towards what is happening in your life, that is the human's last freedom. No one can take that away. So, that is one of the important aspect. Frankl believed that suffering is part of life and life has meaning in all circumstances, even the most miserable ones. We only need to reflect and find. Even in those sufferings also there is a meaning we can find out if we reflect properly. He further argued that in all circumstances, individuals have the freedom to access that will and find meaning even in sufferings and pains. So, if you reflect properly, focus on the situations, you will find some meaning even in the unbearable sufferings also. So, this can be done by choosing attitude. How can we find that? We have to choose the right kind of attitude, a freedom that no one can take away from you. This attitude is your last freedom. What kind of attitude you take about the situation and find meaning? Our ultimate freedom is the ability to choose how you respond to any set of given circumstances, even the most painful ones. In this context, he said, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. When you cannot do anything about what is happening you need to change yourself. That means, you can change yourself in how you can change yourself. One of the ways to change your thought processes, your attitude towards what is happening. So, he is saying between stimulus and response there is a space, something external and you respond. So, there is a space between them. In that space is our power to choose our response. You are not necessarily have to automatically react to what is happening. There is a space in between them. If you realize that space, you can respond to that situation appropriately and change your attitude, rather than just automatically responding to situations. So, in our response lies our growth and freedom. How do you respond? How do you choose to respond? That is where your growth and freedom lies, in that choice, and this is the choice no one can take away from you. He also said people can also find meaning in their life by identifying unique roles that need to fulfill in their life. People can find unique roles. You may find you have a unique role to play in your life for the people around you and so on. That can also give you sense of meaning. He said in some ways suffering ceases to be suffering at the moment it finds a meaning, such as the meaning of a sacrifice and so on. Suffering becomes less suffering, or it stops become suffering when you see meaning in it. Let us say you feel that it is a part of sacrifice that you are making. So, you see a meaning in the suffering, then suffering ceases to become suffering. So, one example it is given in his book Man's Search for Meaning. Viktor Frankl gave an example that when a man consulted the Frankl due to severe depression following the death of his wife. So, this is a person with the symptoms of depression met Viktor Frankl for therapy, because he was going through severe depression, and the reason for depression was basically the death of his wife. Frankl asked him to consider what would have happened if he had died first and his wife had been forced to mourn his death. So, he just asked this question: suppose in the place of your wife you died first, then all the suffering your wife would have to suffer, because she would be alive and she will suffer and mourn your death. So, basically what he is asking is that you see the meaning of this pattern, even though it looks a lot of suffering, your death of a wife, but look at the alternative ways. Your wife was relieved from all this suffering if she was surviving that person's death. So, Frankl basically helped the elderly man to see that his purpose had been to spare his wife's pain of losing him first. The man was able to recognize that his own suffering spared his wife from having that experience. This helped relieve his depression. So, basically Frankl tried to help that person to make sense of the event or find meaning in that suffering, giving an alternative perspective, and that cured his depression and so on. So, Frankl notes that meaning in life differs from person to person, from situation to situation. You cannot have a general meaning for everybody. Everybody creates meaning from time to time, situation to situation. People also do not have a fixed meaning throughout their life. Hence, he asserts that there is not a general meaning in life for all humanity, but rather an idiosyncratic meaning that varies at a given moment. So, meaning one has to create moment to moment, with the passage of time and so on. So, we cannot talk about general meaning all the time, people may have some broader meaning, people may have situation to situation meaning and so on. So, these are some of the things about meaning in life and how can we increase meaning in life through different variables, through different other approaches. All these aspects, whatever works, people can integrate that in their life and it will enhance meaning in their life. And the more meaning in life has always been associated with higher well-being, both hedonic as well as and meaning in life itself is a aspect of eudaimoc well-being. So, with this I stop here. Thank you.